Hello student. Yesterday we discussed about the simple characteristic features of protista. Today we are going to discuss about the major groups of protista. So in your NCERT there are five groups given in protista, which include chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds and protozoans. So here I distributed it again in photosynthetic protist, or this is also known as protist and algae, which include chrysophytes, dinoflagellates and euglenoids. And the second one is the decomposer protist, and it includes slime molds. And the last one is the protozoan protist, which include amoeboid protozoan, flagellated protozoan, ciliated protozoan and sporozoans protozoan. So very first group, that is uh, chrysophytes, and this includes diatoms and golden algae. Diatoms, this is the structure of diatoms. You can say that it resembles like a soap case. You can see here it resembles like a soap case. So first group is chrysophytes. So what are the example? Diatoms and desmids. So this is also known as golden algae. They are found in fresh water as well as in marine. So both in fresh as well as in marine environments. And they are microscopic and float passively in water current. So they are also known as planktons. And most of them are photosynthetic. And you can say diatoms are the major producers in the oceans. Producer, you know that the organism which perform the process of photosynthesis. So diatoms are the major producers in the ocean environment, and most of them are photosynthetic. You can say in diatoms the cell wall form two overlapping shells. You can see it overlaps this, this and this. So they have overlapping shells which fit together as in a soap box. So this one, outer one is known as epitheca, and the inner overlap is known as hypotheca. So they overlap each other and fit into a just like a soap box. The walls are embedded with silica. You can see here. See, the walls are embedded with silica, and thus walls are indestructible. So diatoms have left behind large amount of cell wall deposits in their habitat, where diatoms habitat, it left behind so much of their silica there, and it get deposited in that particular habitat, and this accumulation over billions of years is referred to as diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth मीन्स कि वो जहाँ पे भी रहते हैं अपने ये जो सिलिका का डिपोजिशन है उसको छोड़ते रहते हैं उस पर्टिकुलर प्लेस पे, एंड इट accumulated there and form a structure known as diatomaceous earth, and it is very gritty or granular structure, and it this soil is used in polishing, in glass industries and so many industries. This diatomaceous gritty structure is used for abrasion purpose, and also for filtration of oils and syrups, also for the filtration of oils and syrups. This diatom has been used. So it is very much important, this term diatomaceous earth. What is the meaning of diatomaceous earth? And as I told that they are the major producers in ocean. Next one is the dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates, they are also photosynthetic protist, and they appear yellow, green, brown, blue or red depending on the main pigment present in their cell. So whatever the pigment is present, they look like that only. Most of them have two flagella. One line lies longitudinally and other transversely. You can see here, this is the structure of gonilox, and it undergoes rapid multiplication that they make the sea red in color, and that's why they causes the phenomena known as red tides. So in gonilox, obviously there present uh, red pigment more in comparison to other pigment, that's why it appears red, and it makes the ocean red in color, and that's why the name red tides. And it also releases some toxin which may even kill other marine animals such as fishes. So you can see here, this is the gonilox. So what is important here, red tides, it causes red tides, or very often called as red dinoflagellates. Why it causes red tide? Due to presence of more red pigment in them, and they can all the members can be yellow, green, brown or red color depending on the main pigment present in them. Next is the euglenoids. You can see here, this is the structure of euglena. Majority of them are freshwater organism and found in the stagnant water. Instead of cell wall, you can see here there is a protein covering present, and this is known as pellicle, which makes their body flexible. So this is important here. There is no cell wall like structure present, which is known as pellicle, and it is made up of protein and which makes their body flexible. They have two flagella, one short and one long one. Though they are photosynthetic in the presence of sunlight, and when there is no any sunlight, they behave like a heterotroph. So this is important because euglena show mixotropic nutrition, mixotropic mode of nutrition. This is important. Whenever the sunlight is present, they behave like a photosynthetic organism. Whenever the light is absent, they behave like a heterotroph. So this is interesting about the euglena. And the pigment which is present in euglena, it resembles like the higher plants like chlorophyll A, B, etc. So this is euglena. Next one is the slime molds. Slime molds, as I told that they are decomposer, and slime molds are saprophyte protist. They are the saprophytes. They are the saprophytes. As you know, saprophytes, they uh, get their nutrition from dead and decaying substances. So the body moves along decaying twigs and leaves, and they engulf organic matter, and under suitable condition they form an aggregation called plasmodium. They form an aggregation called plasmodium whenever the condition is suitable for them. And During unfavorable condition, the plasmodium differentiate and from fruiting bodies which bearing spores at their tips. And whenever the unfavorable condition occur, they bear fruiting bodies at their tips and which bears spores. The spores possesses true walls and they are extremely resistant and survive for many years and even under adverse condition. So uh, in unfavorable condition they makes fruiting body which bears spores which can survive under unfavorable condition for many years. So this is about the slime molds, and the last one is the protozoans. This is the structure of Navicula, which is also a type of dinoflagellates. So the last one is the protozoans, and I think you all know some protozoans like amoeba, paramecium. Amoeba structure you know very well, and paramecium. This structure has been given in your NCERT book. So all protozoans are heterotrophs and live as predator or parasite, and they are believed to be primitive relatives of animals. So heterotrophs, holozoic mode of nutrition, as in class 10th you have seen in amoeba, holozoic mode of nutrition. So first one is the amoeboid protozoan. These organisms live in fresh water, sea water, moist soil, and they move and capture their prey. How they capture? With the help of pseudopodia. I think you all know about this, and examples are amoeba, entamoeba, and they also causes many diseases. That entamoeba behave as a parasite, causes amoebic dysentery, then flagellated. So the member of this group are either free living or parasite, and they have flagella. The parasitic forms cause diseases such as sleeping sickness, and the example is trypanosoma. Examples are very much important. It causes sleeping sickness, and this one causes amoebic dysentery. Next one is the ciliated protozoan. So examples are paramecium, and they are aquatic actively moving organism because of the presence of thousands of cilia present on them. You can see the structure of paramecium is like this, and they have thousands of cilia around them, around their membrane, and they have cavity that opening to the outside of the cell surface, and this is called cytopharynx, and the cavity is like this is called cytopharynx, and they move in a coordinated manner with the help of cilia, and example is paramecium. And the last one is the sporozoan. This include diverse organisms that have an infectious spore like stage in their cell. Infectious spore like stage. So what are the example? Example are very much known example, that is malarial parasite you all know about this, that is Plasmodium vivax. So and this is, you can say, in your NCERT book it is written most notorious, obviously most notorious, that is Plasmodium, and which causes malaria. So this is sporozoans, and Plasmodium infect hepatic cells and RBC. So this is all about the different groups of protista.